Classmates, he's my dance mate. Okay. Some crazy stuff. Tushar, this is not coming up on Facebook, please.
It already went on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay. Now, Rajesh Rajan, evaluate to motivate.
Thank you, Kalan. Every time I hear this word called veteran Toastmaster, I get really, really so old to get that. And I'm not they actually mean the English veteran or the Tamil veteran. Okay. Today the topic given to me was evaluate to motivate, and I've been given timer 30 minutes. Right? Don't worry. Just like what Elizabeth Taylor said to many of her husbands, I will not hold you for a long time. Okay? Evaluate to motivate. Now, how many of you actually do evaluations? I mean, predominantly also. How many of you want to do evaluations? So many. Okay. So, what is stopping you from doing evaluations? What are the challenges that you have when you do an evaluation of a speech?
Are we doing it right?
How do you?
Are we doing it right?
Are we doing it right? Okay.
And the skill required to evaluate?
Skill required to evaluate. Okay. Skill. Okay.
Is my feedback just my personal opinion, or it's actually going to help the person?
Okay. Personal opinion or okay. Anything else?
What if the person feels offended?
Offended. Okay.
Evaluator should motivate.
So,
Evaluator should motivate the speaker.
evaluator should motivate the speaker. You don't become a tormentor to such that your evaluation is so bad that he never comes up on stage. Have you ever actually felt really good after doing an evaluation because you really thought the audience received you well at any point of time? Okay. Have you ever took an effort to crack a joke on stage because you want to make the audience lighter and listen to your evaluation? Anyone? And how many of you here will never raise your hands for anything? When I started my evaluation, I did all these crazy stuffs. I used to relate, I wanted to relate so much. As an evaluator, the first thing that my mentor told me is, you need to relate to the speaker who is speaking actually. Only then you will be able to evaluate the speech that he is doing. So whenever someone does a speech, I actually talk about that speech when I come up on stage. For example, today Kalyan talked about dancing and stuff. I really loved the speech about dancing, Kalyan. You know what? I went to dance one day and it was so crazy. And one of my friends was recording it and putting it up on YouTube. I really was bamboozled about what to do. So that's how I used to fill time in my evaluation durations. And the second most important thing I used to do is actually crack some jokes. A lot of people do prepared speeches. I do prepared jokes for the evaluation. Also, just because I wanted to relate so much to the speaker and so much to the audience before doing it. All this happened, and one day my mentor came and said, all that you do is rubbish. Right? And that's why I learned the first lesson, that in evaluation, it's more about the speech and the speaker and less about the evaluator. Remember, you are just a medium of motivating the person who did the speech. You are not here to throw your limelight and say what. You are not a subject matter expert on stage to comment. You are given an opportunity to give an opinion about what the other person talked about. The second most important thing that I learned, I did it in terms of my evaluation is, how many of you actually, someone said, right, offended. Who said that? Offended. Why is that? Somehow, where did that point come on?
It feels the speech is very awkward, and if we say the straight, it's like, no, that is perfectly.
Okay, can you be a little loud?
Say, for example, sometimes if you feel something is bad of the speech and if you say it directly to their face, they will feel offended. It's human nature.
Okay. And Toastmasters say you need to give positive points. Like, damn, 5 minutes, one positive point is not there in the speech. What do I do? Should I say something? Confidence is there, nervousness is not there. Something we need to come up with. And times we do not want to be really real about what is that we are talking about. Right? And we always have it. And one of the techniques I actually learned from one of the fellow Toastmasters is actually to detach yourself from the speech, not to offend a speaker. And the best way you do is blame it on the audience. The audience felt your speech was very boring. The audience felt that you did not connect to the speech. The audience felt you could have added more details. Okay, so this is the second thing that I was actually, and I thought this was a very, very good technique to play. Right? At the end of it, someone comes and asks me, "What happened? Why did you say that?" I don't know. Person sitting next to me told me that, so I told him. It was not my personal opinion. Audience felt it. That's what we used to say. And that's why I learned the second lesson. As an evaluator, you are not here to give audience opinion on stage. It's your personal opinion that you give to the speaker. The first thing that I talked about, it's less about you as an evaluator and more about the speech and the speaker. The second thing I learned from doing a lot of mistakes is evaluation is more about your personal opinion that you do on stage and not about audience. Third most important thing that I learned is force fittings, right? How many of you know what the meaning of force fitting? Anyone? Force? Yes, sir.
Yeah, in the sense you are forced to fit it.
You're
It's
fitting
really not
something.
there.
Yeah.
You make it happen forcefully. You manufacture it.
We manufacture something into our evaluations in this context. In terms of jokes that we do, I always used to forfeit jokes into mine. And for a long time, I remember I had this joke which I had. It said like, evaluation is like having a baby. Fun to conceive, hell to deliver. Okay. This is, Alex, it's okay. I know it's a bad joke, but it's okay. Okay. I used it, reused it, abused it so long that there was a woman who joined the club. She got married, she had a baby. Until then, I used the same joke repeatedly. Okay. Just because I wanted to start with a good joke to the audience. The second thing that I did in terms of my evaluations also, the crazy things that we do. How many of you have listened to evaluators who have acronyms? Suddenly, yeah, I know. What is the acronym you're talking about? Sir, I asked you a question, sir.
No.
It's like first you raise the hand for anything that we
Alex
ask.
was doing evaluation here. Alex and Logan Toastmaster, they use a lot of acronyms. The list there is something.
Have you ever seen evaluators using acronyms to do a speech? The classic thing that people do is CCC, it's like conflict, character, and climax. And today you did a fantastic job in storytelling manual. And today I want to evaluate your speech with CCC: context, clarity, and conclusion of the speech. There are few people who they use the names actually, name of a person, name of the speaker to give an evaluation. For example, Alex is an email. We have Alex. Today I have come to evaluate Alex with an acronym Alex. A stands for articulation of thoughts, L stands for language, E talks about expression that you had in face when you talk, and X stands for exchange of the information that we have. E is silent there, okay? That's why we used to do that. It's all fine. Alex is fine, it's a small word. What happens if the speaker's name is Tirunjana Sambandhu? That's when you force fit a lot of things into an evaluation, it becomes very artificial and people don't buy it. So these are three primitive don'ts that one should know before doing an evaluation. The first thing, anyone? Ramalingam sir, the first don't of evaluation. It's less about you as an evaluator and more about the speaker. Fantastic. Let us give a round of applause to Ramalingam. The second most important thing is about don't speak
Audience.
on the audience perspective. Third most important thing that I want to talk to you is don't force fit anything that we have for it. Now, if you don't do all these things, how do we go about doing a basic evaluation when you come up on stage? The simple thing, there's no big science around it. For a club level evaluation of any speech that we do, first thing an evaluator should do. Any guesses? What are the things they need to do?
First say the positives.
Positives, okay. Anything else?
Read the manual first.
Fantastic. That is the first important thing. As an evaluator, you need to actually read through the entire project objective and you need to know what is that you are going to actually evaluate on today. And a lot of times, few senior Toastmasters do that mistake. Okay? Of course, there are few people who are the encyclopedia of Toastmasters who know everything. That's fine. But otherwise, I think it's always good that you brush up with whatever you have done over the past and read through the manual of whatever you do. Because I've seen a lot of Toastmasters who do a speech on stage, and a senior Toastmaster who comes and does an evaluation, they literally toil him around on stage. They literally kill him. Little veteran, it happens. Okay, they say like the vocal variety was not proper. I couldn't hear it from the last row, and your body language was not there. Your face was very stiff. You were showing nervousness, and all these things people do for a project too. So it's just not about what you know, but you need to understand what is it you're going to evaluate. It's all dependent upon what the project demands. If it is an icebreaker, we are not going to look into anything beyond the person's effort to come up on stage and give a speech. That is it. And there are so many times the screen evaluators come up and say, your eye contact was not there. The body language could have been better. And I couldn't hear you when I was in the last row. And I think a lot of Toastmasters have actually left the movement because they were not encouraged. The foundation of Toastmasters platform is it's a mutually supportive environment. But are we actually supporting people, supporting speakers who come up on stage with their evaluations? We need to ponder over it. There's no particular formula to do it. I just leave it to you. Few things that I really felt hurt me. Seen a lot of Toastmasters do that. The second most important thing people do is talk about a lot of positives, talk about a lot of negatives. Now, when a speaker speaks on stage, there are so many thoughts that they come up with, right? So many factors. How do you filter in what is that you're going to evaluate on? How many factors that we are going to talk about?
Like opening body.
Any intro, opening body conclusion that we have. Okay. Something that my mentor taught me is, for even a CC10 speeches, for an advanced speaker who speaks today, there may be so many aspects that a person may cover in a speech. But there's something called the Pareto principle. How many of you know that? Pareto principle, right? It's called 80-20. Just ensure what are the 80% of factors that led to the speech objectives. Just talk about that. And out of that, see what are the improvement areas that they need to have on. When I say translate in 80-20, 3 positive points and 1 area of improvement. 1 or maximum 2, nothing can go beyond. Because as an evaluator, all that you have on stage is only 2 to 3 minutes, right? And 3 positive points and 1 area of improvement is what something I do always. So I leave it to you about whether it's 2 points, 3 points. It's up to your rate of speed that you have on stage. Okay. And the third most important thing that I've actually helped is I used to memorize these introductions and conclusions for the speeches. When I started doing evaluation, just like a speaker who comes up on stage, even as an evaluator, we are nervous, right? So what I used to do was, I used to memorize the opening of my evaluation and the conclusion of the evaluation. Not force-fitting. There's a lot of difference between force-fitting something and memorizing what I wanted to say. Couple of memorized points that I had for evaluation is, I'm sure you all will agree with me that the strong points of Toastmaster dash speech, Toastmaster Alex or Toastmaster Ramani, Toastmaster Sunil's speech is its language skills and its humor quotient. This is a standard script that I have, and today he used it perfectly to deliver a fantastic speech. The standard line. The only thing that vary here is the name of the speaker and the two strong points that we have. Right? We just change it. Initially, it is better to have it because once you come up on stage, it's not that always we are very comfortable doing an evaluation. Certain things prepared initially is fine. It's just like a speaker, right? When you start your icebreaker sessions, you write a lot of speech literally on a Word document, memorize it and come up and do it. When you go to the advanced levels, you no longer write the speech. You just have the points, write down the points and just come up and speak. And then you go even advanced speakers, they just have a story in mind, they come and speak and connect with the message. So when you are an evaluator, when you start, it's advisable that you have a standard introduction and standard conclusion. This conclusion part is again the same. That can be divided into two types. One is either you can have the 3 points that I liked in your speech are 1, 2, 3. And I wish if you could improve upon this one area, your speech can transform from good speech into a great speech. Okay? Or a wonderful speech to a fantabulous speech, whatever words, languages you want. These are memorized that we have to do a speech. And that is something that was used for me, and I just leave it to you. The most important thing that I want to talk about, finally, how much time do I have? 15 minutes. Okay. A lot of evaluators make this very common mistake when they give the areas of improvements. Have you ever seen someone give a speech and an evaluator come up and say, I felt you need to improve your vocal variety? Have you ever heard someone say that? And they say, otherwise you're fantastic, your speech is fantastic. I personally feel if you're an evaluator coming up and giving an area of improvement, it is your sole responsibility to tell them what to improve, why to improve, and how to improve. It's just not enough for you to come up and say, hey, you know what, Toastmaster Rajesh, you did a fantastic job today, but I felt you need to improve upon your vocal variety. No, big no. Toastmaster Rajesh, I love your speech. The only area of suggestion I have for you today is to you have effective usage of vocal variety, because your speech has a story of relation between a daughter and a father, which is conveying emotions. And with respect to areas of emotions, if you could raise and lower your voice, it will add more effective to the thoughts that you present to the audience. So just give your logic or reasoning behind why do you want him to improve upon that area of point. Because that is where the learning happens. The entire 2 minutes of your evaluation makes no sense if you do not have this area of improvement point. In fact, when you go to a district level contest or club level evaluation contest, specific marks are given for the logic and reasoning of your evaluation team. I think people who are judged contest here would be able to vouch for it. So it's just not about what to improve, but why you need to improve. Why you need to improve few points. Okay. These are generic aspects of evaluation that I wanted to talk to you. I have a standard format that I used when I started doing evaluation, which I will circulate through Kalyan by mail to the medleys group. And a couple of things I really wanted to talk to you about is two things I've specifically seen a lot of Toastmasters do that. One is called whitewashing. How many of you have? Not the house whitewashing. This is called a speech whitewashing. It's about everything is perfect about the speech that you make. So you know what, Kalyan, you came up here and on the stage and you gave a fantabulous speech that I couldn't sit in my chair. It was so good, I was so raring to come up on stage and give an evaluation, give you a hug on that day. Just couldn't mesmerize, I couldn't sit on the stage. You know, vocal variety, you did brilliant. Your emotions, logics, everything was brilliant. I don't have any area of improvements for you. Just keep doing it, you'll go places. I am sure you will go to some other place. What happens with respect to whitewashing is, I have done this mistake. So I am not talking about some evaluator who come up and does all these things. I have done, for all the mistakes that I am talking about, I have done it in my own evaluation journey in Toastmasters. In an intention to actually be good to the speaker and to be good when we present ourselves on stage and we talk about lot of praises. But what really motivates the person as a speaker is the areas where they need to improve on. You need to be genuine and real. If you keep continuously doing whitewashing, your credibility as a Toastmaster, as a speaker, as a leader, as an evaluator, as a motivator goes for a toss. So avoid doing that whitewashing. Second most important thing is the same thing taken to an extreme opposite, like being critical. Right? What did you do, Steve? Did you read the manual first of all? It talks about vocal variety. Where's your vocal variety? So same voice you're talking. Not just this speech. I couldn't hear anything that you said. And rest assured, this person is not going to come back to me. So there's a fine balance between how you do it. And you ask me how to do it, I do not know. You need to come up repeatedly on stage, try different methods, and then you will be able to do really well. Okay. I think the green light is up. I just have one more thing to share, but I will do it at the end. You have any questions until now? Yes.
Is there a difference in your recommendation if I do it at the club level, if I do it for a contest evaluation? Do you need to change my formula?
In my personal experience, the recommendation will remain the same, but the way I say it, I would add more glamour to the way I say it. For example, in a club level environment for a daily routine, when I do it, I would say, Toastmaster Thomas, you had good humor in your speech, and I really loved it. But whereas in a contest perspective, when I go, I would just say the same thing. Toastmaster Thomas, you know what? The humor quotient that you had in your speech was like a well-oiled lubricant for your speech.
If I may elaborate, people seem to like metaphors, people like to this manufactured acronyms, etc. Judges seem to fall for it.
That happens. Sometimes evil wins.